Ladies and gentlemen, hello. It's a tremendous pleasure for me to be able to address the North American Scottish Communities Conference from my home here in Thurso in the far north of Scotland. It brings back to me very happy memories of my visit to America, to Chicago in October 16, when I met so many of you at the leadership conference and had a chance to tell you about what we were doing in Scotland at the time, and to hear from you all of the great things that you were doing as well. I thought there would be three things I might talk about. The first is the tremendous importance of Scottish communities in Scotland and their links to Scottish communities in North America. I thought also I might say a little bit about what COVID has done to Scotland. And then I thought I might talk a little bit about reopening Scotland, and when it is, we will have the pleasure of welcoming you all back again. But going back to our links, one of the advantages of being virtual is that I'm doing this from my own home. And as I speak to you, my ancestors are looking down from the walls. And in one corner is Sir John St. Clair of Ulster, my four-greats-grandfather, who was one of the noted Enlightenment figures who went on to be the first founding president of the Board of Agriculture here in the United Kingdom, or Great Britain as it was then. And he corresponded regularly with George Washington, then President of the United States. And in particular, he corresponded on the importance of agriculture. And I have here a full set of facsimile copies of that correspondence. And reading it, it is fascinating to see that right at the beginning of the United States, Scots and Americans were corresponding in warm terms on subjects of mutual interest. And on the wall opposite me, there is my great-grandfather and his wife. And his wife is Mabel Sands of Boston. So, like so many families in Scotland, I have American relatives. And my daughter currently lives in Toronto. You will find a similar story in many, many households across Scotland. Family that have gone overseas, family that have come from Americans or Canadians who've come back to this country, and of course, our children who've gone to those countries. What is fascinating to me is that this relationships between our two continents is built on shared values of community and kinship. At the very heart of what Scotland is the notion that we are all kin. We may not be blood relations, but we are in kinship with those in our communities. And one of the most important values that Scots who left to go to a new life in North America took with them is that value of kinship and community. And it's what has bound us together and helped us through so much of the difficult times that we have suffered lately. And the ties that we have between our communities and organizations here in Scotland and the communities and diaspora organizations in North America are very important to us, and they are a two-way street. We see those who are part of the diaspora organizations in the North American continent as much more than simply people to whom we can market the values of Scotland and hope that you will come and visit from time to time. You are our ambassadors right across the North American continent. And we look to you to promote links in education, in science, and in all of the other areas where we have so much in common. Scotland is Now was the campaign that we launched in New York at the time of the Tartan Parade in April 2018. And when I was there talking about it, I underlined that we had a rich heritage in Scotland of culture, history, and of course all the other fabulous things that we have. And I pointed out that those were the roots on which we were building. but that Scotland today has some of the most advanced products in the world. Just across the bay from here is a factory which is leading the world in making power cells for the new generation of electric cars. Across the top of the north coast, there is a satellite launching pad being built. Scotland has some of the finest biomedicines in the world. This is our innovation. This is our new technologies. And the point between that future and our past is now, and that's what we celebrate and live in. So in talking to you today, I draw great comfort from the traditions of the past, but also look forward to the future. And that is built on our communities and the way in which we can work together. So thank you very much for having invited me to talk to this important conference. Turning, if I may now, to how COVID has impacted on Scotland. I have to say, like everywhere in the world, it's been pretty tough. Normal life as we knew it came to a halt with our first lockdown at the end of March. And although a number of businesses have been able to go back to work, the hospitality and tourism business has been particularly badly hit. In fact, I would describe it as being brutal. Hospitality and tourism make up around 10% of the GDP of Scotland. We employ some 217,000 people. And the tragedy is that last year, 2019, was the best year on record for value of tourism and contribution to the economy that we have ever had. At the end of March, at the flick of a switch, all of that economic activity stopped overnight. The government here in Edinburgh and also in Westminster have put in a range of support schemes that have been incredibly helpful. However, having come out of full lockdown in the summer and enjoyed a couple of months of reasonable tourism figures from people staycationing and coming up from the rest of the UK, we are now back in full lockdown. There is no doubt that a number of businesses and well-known businesses will not reopen. There are a large number of people, valued people in our industry, whose jobs will not come back. It will take us a number of years to recover from this. However, there is light at the end of the tunnel. The announcements recently of vaccines that are working, particularly the Oxford vaccine, mean that there is a realistic probability that by Easter, we will have started to see a majority of the population being inoculated. It will probably take until the early to mid-summer before we can really get back to normal life. The impact of lost revenue can never be regained. But a critical part of what we're doing, and Visit Scotland, we are very much a part of this, is to ensure to build back better. And one of the ways we're doing that is through pivoting towards responsible tourism, which means it's sustainable by the communities that host it, and it's sustainable in terms of its climate footprint. We know from studies of the people who come to visit us that they value our environment and everything that we have to offer. We know that they want experiences that are based on their values. By giving product that is friendly to the climate and responsible towards the communities that host them, we know we will attract more people than ever before to come to stay with us in Scotland. So looking forward, with the vaccine and with restrictions being relaxed, we would hope to see the resumption of something like a more normal flight schedule towards the middle of the year. However, we must be realistic. It will probably be towards the end of the year before visitors and business travellers regain the confidence to start flying in numbers. So looking forward to 21 will be the start of the fight back. 21 will be when we begin to see visitors again. It will start with the domestic market and the staycations, and then it will move into travel to more nearer countries, Europe and so forth. But we would hope that by the autumn, we would be back to something like normal travel from the North American continent. The real rebuilding year will be 2022, and we will be doing everything in our power to market Scotland to our overseas visitors, particularly in the North American continent, for stays coming here in 2022. Interestingly, I attended a Zoom meeting of Clan Sinclair chairman from Canada, America, and Australia, together with myself and the clan chief, about our own Sinclair gathering, which was postponed from last year. And we have made the decision to wait until 2022. And I think a lot of other organizations will be making similar decisions. But by 2022, we will be back. We'll have built back better and we'll have built back stronger. And that is the moment when I hope I can once again say to you, Thurso Alba. I look forward to seeing you all back here in Scotland, and maybe even being able to say Sláinte mhath. I look forward to seeing you again soon.